Hey guys, it's JCHDIY. Welcome back to the happy side of YouTube. Today I'm going to be testing out some random no glue, no soap slime recipes that I come up with. And did I mention all of these recipes are actually new and you have never seen them on YouTube before. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sit back, relax, and watch it till the end to find out a bunch of great recipes that you will need to test. First recipe, you're going to be needing some mouthwash, some triple thick, and you're also going to be needing some cream of tartar. So in a bowl, I started off by adding in my triple thick, and I've used this in one video before, but I've never used this recipe, which I thought of. And then I added in some mouthwash, and then I added in a little more food coloring because I wasn't a huge fan of the color because the triple thick is kind of white. I wanted it to be a little more blue, so I added in some more blue food coloring, and then I just mixed that all up. And you want this actually mixed pretty well, and then you want to take your cream of tartar and you want to add that in, and you want to mix that all together. And now all you have to do is let that sit for a day. I let it sit for 24 hours, and this is what it looked like after that. It looked kind of the same. I turned on my lighting because I forgot to at first, but this is what it looked like, you guys. It definitely looked more thick because the cream of tartar, of course, is a thickener for like jelly and stuff, but this is what it looked like, you guys. If you don't add in the cream of tartar, I don't think it would have worked, but this recipe works actually pretty well, as you guys can see. And this was the piece that was in the bottom of the bowl, and the piece in the bottom of the bowl was actually super clear, so this recipe was a huge success. This next recipe I think might be a little bit messy, so I'm just going to put this paper towel here so it doesn't get on my counter, a bowl that I can throw away after, and I'm just going to use a popsicle stick to mix with so that I can also throw that away. But to make this first recipe, you're going to be needing some clear seal and add some to your bowl. And it's really hard to get out, but I eventually got some out. And then you want to add in some really cold water. I actually refrigerated my water before I put it in here because it makes a better slime. And you just want to kind of dip the seal in the water. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but keep dipping it and it will kind of harden a little. A quick little warning, this recipe is not that safe to make inside because the fumes of the plastic seal are not healthy to breathe in. So I had to do it inside for like video purposes. But you guys, if you do make this, I would recommend doing it outside. But as you guys can see on the screen, this recipe worked out super well. It was not sticky at all, especially for a no glue slime. So I would actually recommend making this one if you do it carefully. For the next recipe, I thought about making a toothpaste slime, but there is already a toothpaste slime recipe, and whenever I make the toothpaste slime, it is always like Play-Doh, so I decided to add in lotion this time. Because I thought the lotion would make it a little less of a Play-Doh texture and maybe a little more like slime. So I added in a small container of toothpaste into my bowl, and then I took some lotion and added about an even ratio of lotion to toothpaste, and then I mixed it all together. You want it actually really well mixed together because if you don't mix it too much, the texture will just make the toothpaste harden and not the lotion. So after that, I took it out and I realized that I added in too much lotion, you guys. So if you do this, just add in a little less lotion and I'm sure it'd work. It did definitely harden up, kind of like slime though. So this recipe was like a half success. For the next recipe, I'm going to be using a sunscreen because I thought it might work. So I'm going to be making a sunscreen fluffy slime. So I started off by adding in my sunscreen to my bowl, and then I took my shaving cream to make it fluffy, and I added in a bunch of shaving cream. I was actually super excited to test this recipe out because sunscreen kind of has the same texture as soap, so I was excited to experiment with this one. I want to take some baking soda and add a few pinches into this mixture so that it helps harden it up when you put it in the fridge. And mix that all up really well so that you don't have lumps that are harder than the other parts of the slime. And then I put it in the fridge for about an hour, and when it came out, it was like this. The problem is that it kept melting, and I guess it makes sense because it just cooled down, and that's why it hardened up a little bit. But this recipe melted even more than the soap slime recipes. So if you don't mind it melting a little bit, this recipe would definitely work. But if it does melt for you, I just say put it in the refrigerator for a little longer. Okay, so the next recipe you're going to be using alcohol-free hair gel, and a lot of you guys say the hair gel recipes don't work for you, and the reason for that is because your hair gel contains alcohol, which does not freeze or harden, so you guys have to be careful about that, and before you say recipes are fake or whatever, make sure that you're actually doing it completely right. So for this recipe, it's a one-ingredient slime recipe. All you have to do is leave it overnight, and this is what it turned out like after I left it overnight. It was a lot thicker, and it felt a lot like slime. Actually, I would recommend leaving it out a little longer than I did, so maybe 24 hours, but this recipe was a huge success. For this next recipe, I'm going to be testing out something kind of similar to that last one, except we're going to be replacing hair gel with aloe. So I added in a little bit of aloe into my container. And it doesn't really matter how much aloe you add in, I just added in quite a lot. And then I kind of banged it against the counter so that it would flatten out a little bit, and I put it in the refrigerator for 24 hours. When it came out, it looked like this, you guys. It kind of seemed like slime from the top layer, but then I was noticing parts of the bottom layer of the slime were kind of still like aloe, so I mixed it up a little bit, and it was actually turning kind of the texture of slime once I mixed both like bits of the slime together. So this recipe was so amazing, you guys. For the next one, you're going to be needing some piping gel, and I can assure you guys have never seen this before, some citric acid, and you are going to be needing some tapioca starch. So take your piping gel, and I have a clear one, and it was green colored because I added food coloring in it one time for a project. And then you're going to be needing some hair gel. I used the same one I used before. You will need it to be alcohol free. Then you're going to mix those two guys together. You're going to be adding in a little bit of cream of tartar, but don't add too much or else this recipe will not work. So if you add a little bit too much, it still won't work. So be really careful about this. This is super easy. Just leave it out for a few hours and it should look like this. It kind of settled down a little bit, but it looked, of course, the same. But when I touched it, it had a totally different texture. It was crazy, you guys. I was not expecting it to work, but it worked actually pretty well. So this is what the slime looked like, and it was still a little bit liquidy, but if I would have let it out, like sit for a little longer, it would have actually been even better. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will have a video you can click on the screen. I'll also have a button you can click to join the subscriber squad. Bye. See you guys tomorrow.